Angry? I'm bloody livid. So the other night on RTE, the state broadcaster, which, as you well know if you watch this channel, I do not watch. It's little more than state-sponsored propaganda. But a clip was floating around the ethernet which made me angry. In fact, it didn't only make me angry, it made me livid. There you go, and that's saying something. As you know, I'm very slow to anger here. I'm the modicum. I'm the absolute epitome of patience, calmness. You know that. Now, don't forget to subscribe because, you know, they're really hammering me these days. They really don't like the things I say and the topics I cover. So, having seen the clips floating around the ethernet, I had to go and dig a bit deeper and go and watch the whole damn thing. This was a programme called Up Front with Katie Hannon. She's a journalist, so-called. And the programme was about the Irish housing crisis. Now, any of you who live here will already know it is a crisis. There are almost 15,000 people registered as homeless. Homeless people in a country that's supposed to be near the top of the leaderboard for GDP. GD fucking P. Yeah, with us. We're one of the richest nations of the earth. We have 15,000 people homeless. 4,000 of those are children. Anyway, this programme, Up Front, it's called, with Katie Hannon, was to address and speak about and talk about and converse about the housing crisis. Why do we not have enough homes? Why are these people destitute and homeless and on the streets and sleeping rough and in homeless shelters? Why? How could it be? And they had the usual political buffoons in there to basically gaslight us all and talk a load of absolute and utter wallocks. And having watched it, not once, not at any stage, not at any time, and not that any of the political hacks, the political windbags that were there, mention the elephant in the room. Open borders and mass immigration. No, nobody mentioned that. Why do we not have enough houses? Why do we not have enough accommodation? Why can we not accommodate the basic needs of the Irish people? Nobody mentioned open borders and the fact that people from all over the globe are flooding in here. Why, just even Indians alone, it's estimated 2,000 a month. A month. Where are they going to sleep? Where are they going to stay? Where are they going to live? We have infrastructure here in Ireland for about 4.5 million people. That's what it's built for. That's what it's designed for. We're now pushing 5.5 million, and I would estimate it's probably 6 or over. The official figures are 5.3. I think it's somewhere around there. I would say it's way higher than that. Housing crisis? Why? How could we have a housing crisis? Maybe it's because we have an extra 1 million or 1.5 million people crammed into this little island. Could that be it? Well, not according to this show, because nobody talked about it, nobody brought it up, nobody even mentioned it could be possibly one of the causes, one of the reasons. No, we can't possibly mention that. That would be uncouth. That would be crass. So we have nearly 15,000 people homeless, and that's not counting the hundreds of thousands of young Irish men and women in their 20s and 30s and beyond who are still living at home with mum and dad. Why? There's nowhere to go to. They can't even rent a place. And even if they can find a place, they can't afford it. Because vulture funds, yes, vulture funds, the Black Rocks of this world, the Vanguards of this world, vultures of the financial world have bought up and are buying up properties left, right and centre. And then leasing them out, letting them out, renting them out for a gazillion quid a month. Yes. All waved on, cheered on, nodding a wink by our political class. They don't care. They've got their own 3 and 4 bed semis. They're doing all right, Jack. They've pulled the ladder up behind them. But is that why I'm angry? Well, hell yes, that's why I'm angry. Is that why I'm livid? No, that's different. That's different. Angry, I already was. at the state of things and the way things are and the way things are going, with nobody seeming to address the core issue, the core problem. As Milton Friedman, Nobel laureate economist, famously said, you can't have open borders and a welfare state. You can't do it. It's an impossibility. Well, not for the buffoons and the elites running Ireland today. No. As far as they're concerned, it's all perfectly logical and natural and virtue signalling. They can go to virtue signalling meetings in the UN and the EU and meet with their NGO pals and go for drinks and cocktails and fancy parties where they can all clap each other on the back and say how wonderful and progressive and modern we are. Yes. Bullshit. So I had to watch this abomination of a programme, and I started out angry and I ended up livid. Well, let's find out why.
You came to us tonight from a homeless hub.
Yeah.
You've been there since last June, is that right?
Yeah.
You're there and you have your 4-year-old son with you and he has complex medical needs.
Yeah.
Can you just very quickly tell us, how did you end up there in this situation?
So I was private renting a property for $2,700 a month, and issues came across with my little boy's crash, so I left my job and I just couldn't sustain the rent and I had to declare myself homeless.
So the hub, you've been in the hub since then?
Yeah.
How are you finding it there?
Very hard. Getting up early in the mornings, 2 buses to preschool and everything, just thinking about Christmas coming up, where I'm going to put a Christmas tree and celebrate with him. Like, so far away from family as well, especially on Christmas when there's no public transport. I get him up every morning at 6:15 and he leaves at 7:30.
What age is he again?
4. My mum is over in Cabra, my family's in Cabra, everyone is, and we're out in Kimmage, so it's a good bit away. Like,
How are you coping?
I'm not, just about.
Last year, you got a call from Wicklow County Council that changed your life.
Yes. I received a letter very unexpectedly, basically saying that I was being nominated for housing if I was interested, which absolutely. And I was put forward and I was accepted by the cooperative housing, and we've been in our forever home since. And there are supports in place. It's not just, okay, congrats, you have your home. They have, different resources available. So if you're struggling to make your payments, if you're struggling just to settle in, because we are in an apartment and they did state that they understand apartment living can be isolating. So if you're struggling, reach out. They really kind of push for you to become a part of the community and just to realize that this is your home and they want you to know that.
You mustn't know yourself, must you?
I don't. I still don't. Yeah, I still don't, honestly. Just last week made a full year and it has been amazing. We're settled in. We have that security. We have made it ours,
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in and telling us that story. And it is great to hear that there are some stories with those very happy endings.
Yes, guys, that's modern Ireland right there in a nutshell. Chloe, who was absolutely busting her ass to pay €2,700 a month to keep a roof over her head and her disabled son's head, 4 years old. And she is now homeless. She's in a homeless shelter. Meanwhile, beside her, sitting right beside her in that studio, and nothing about that scene, I can tell you, is random. Sitting right beside her was a woman of African or Caribbean origin. I think we can all tell by the accent. She's housed. She's already housed in a comfortable apartment at the expense of the Irish state. She's comfortably housed, while Chloe, with her disabled 4-year-old son, is homeless. She's in a homeless shelter. Nothing about that scene you saw there was random. That was nothing short of a humiliation ritual. That was ritualistic humiliation. Not just for Chloe, who had to come in there, handpicked, and sit down beside a lady of African or Caribbean heritage. Not an Irish person. She's not Irish. I don't care what piece of paper they gave her. And Chloe had to tell her tale, her horrendous tale of struggling, trying to pay €2,700 a month, working, I'm sure, every hour God gave her, paying her taxes, And she's now in a homeless hub. And where are her taxes going? They're going to house the world. They're going to house everybody else. Anybody who fetched up here, from wherever they fetched up here from. And Chloe had to sit there and listen to this lady sitting right beside her. And she was placed right beside her. It wasn't random. These people don't come in off the street and just sit wherever they like. It was all choreographed. Chloe had to sit there, having come from her homeless shelter to the studio, to the Dublin 4 elites, to the media classes. Sit there with all those smirking, smug politicians, nodding sagely, looking concerned. And she had to listen to this foreign person gloat about her wonderfully comfortable accommodation provided by the Irish state, the Irish taxpayer, provided by Chloe, in part. How do you think she felt sitting there? How would you imagine she felt sitting there? That's the Irish state. That's where we've come to. That's where we're at now. That's who we are now. And the political elite sitting there nodding, and Katie Hannon nodding and looking so grave and so concerned. These people are in ivory towers. They're looking down at the plebs. They're virtue signallers. Their head is so far up their own ass, they don't even know what's real anymore. They actually think that scene last night, what you just witnessed there, was wonderful. Marvellous. That just shows how far we Irish have come, how virtuous we Irish are, how much we've progressed as a people. Why, we can house Africans, we can house Pakistanis, we can house people from Antarctica. But Chloe, an Irish girl, an Irish woman, born and bred, parents, grandparents, generation upon generation. Probably her relatives fought in the War of Independence, might have even been part of 1916, probably survived the famine. She's in a homeless shelter. She's homeless. Why? Why did this woman get nominated, whatever that means, by the county council? How many thousand Irish men and women and children were on the housing list? How many? Will anybody tell you? No. No, they won't tell you. Can't tell you. Don't want to tell you. That would expose the scam. Why are they housing people from all over the globe? As Irish people who've struggled their whole lives to pay into the state. Their parents did the same. Their grandparents, their great-grandparents did the same. And they're thrown out in the street. And then maybe they're brought into a nice fancy plush state broadcaster studio to sit beside somebody from God knows where whilst they tell their marvellous happy tale of their forever home gifted by the Irish state. Is that why the men and women died, gave their lives, gave their blood in the Irish War of Independence? To form a state of the Irish for the Irish, where the Irish could make their place in the world and take care of each other. Is that why they died? Is that why the men on Easter morning in 1916 left their homes knowing they'd probably never return? Is that why they gave their lives? Is that why Pádraig Pearse walked into the GPO knowing he couldn't win? A dead man walking, and he knew it. A couple of weeks later, they put him up against the wall in Kinmalem jail and shot him by firing squad. Is that why he gave his life? So Chloe could sit there listening to that, being a part of that humiliation ritual? No, that's not why he did it. That's not why any of them did it. Is that why Wolfe Tone died? No, that's not why he died. The men of 1916, all of them, left their homes knowing they probably wouldn't return. Crushed. They knew they'd be crushed, but they thought it might spark something. It might spark a revolution whereby the Irish people could finally stand up, could finally be something in the world, could finally take care of their own. They didn't fight for this. They didn't fight so that eventually Irish people who fell on hard times could be thrown into homeless shelters while Africans and Caribbeans were given the best the state could provide, and as quickly as it could provide it. They didn't fight for that. They didn't give their lives for that. That's an abomination. This scene here is nothing less than a public ritualistic humiliation service. I'm sure Chloe felt humiliated. I felt humiliated. Every Irish person watching that, here and abroad, felt humiliated. Humiliated by the Dublin 4 elites, by the media classes, by the political classes, by the academics, the progressives, the communists, who see everybody as worthy except their own, like a dysfunctional mother who takes care of everybody else's children on the road except her own children. You would say that mother's a dysfunctional mother, that mother's a psychotic mother. Yes, you would, and you'd be right. Well, welcome to the Irish state in the modern day. Dysfunctional. Heroes died over the centuries, so we could take care of our own in our own way with whatever we had. James Connolly was so wounded from his actions in the Easter 1916 rising that he couldn't stand up. They put him in a chair, they tied him to a chair, the firing squad shot him in a chair. Did he die for this? Is this why he died? They're looking down at us ordinary Irish people from their ivory towers in Dublin 4. They're spitting on us, laughing at us, leering at us. Let them eat cake. Marie Antoinette would blush at what they're doing to us. They don't care. They don't even care that we know they're laughing at us. We know they're laughing and spitting at us, and they know we know, and they just don't care. That's why you see a program like this. They don't even see anything wrong with that. The people who put that show together, the people who produced that show, the people who wrote that script, the people who manned that show, don't see anything wrong with that. This republic is over. This republic has failed. This republic has run its course, it's run aground, it's dysfunctional. We need a new republic. We need to start again. It's all gone wrong. We need to go back to basics. We need to go back to first principles. We need a new republic. We need to start again. Sorry, I don't have a fancy outro for you. I don't. That's it. I'm done.